Amid the attack in Munich and other unrest overseas, authorities in Philadelphia are upping the security presence for the Democratic convention. Former Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security Douglas Smith joins us with a look at what's ahead for Philadelphia. Douglas, thank you so much for joining us. First and foremost, I want to get your reaction to the Munich shooting. Certainly, each of these horrific acts have their own unique motives and their unique circumstances. What is your takeaway from the very unfortunate event that happened in Munich last night?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I think in Munich, what we're starting to find out is tragically it looks more like a lone wolf situation. It seems to be very little tie to ISIS and terrorism. That's not to take away from how horrific it is and the tragic loss of life. The German investigative services, and when I was at DHS, I worked with them incredibly closely, are very, very good. And I'm sure they are digging into this aggressively and looking for any sort of motive. What seems to be reporting out so far, though, it was one deranged individual, and thankfully with no direct tie to ISIS. When
we look ahead to Philadelphia, and you said that I want to tap into your experience when you worked at DHS, what are officials, how are they working to constantly stay on their toes for every scenario possible when you look at a gathering of so many people upon one city?
No, absolutely. The good news is they've had a long time to plan, and the Secret Service, because this is a national security event, has the lead. And the Secret Service does these events, year after year. When both Cleveland and Philadelphia were picked, they start their planning processes. They immediately set up a team. While the Secret Service has overall authority on it, there are literally hundreds of different agencies that sit around the table as they plan on that. I just got back from Cleveland, and I can tell you that despite some of the incredible challenges facing our security services, it was really just an amazing moment to see how closely they worked. I was on a street corner watching 4 simultaneous demonstrations going on, and all the while our security services were able to keep the peace, keep them separated. But they're not going to rest on their laurels from Cleveland. Philadelphia will present its own different challenges, but what they're doing is all in real time. They have a plan. They've practiced it. They will continue to practice it, but they will adjust in real time. It is not as if they have it in stagnant and they don't change it. All the while they are reporting back in as information comes in. I can assure you that they are tracking what happened in Munich, what happened in Turkey a week ago, what happened in France, and they are constantly evaluating and changing. But the amazing thing to see is just how closely they all work, from the Secret Service to Homeland Security investigations, TSA, FBI, the Philadelphia Police Department will play a significant role, the Philadelphia State Police,
That's
the
what I wanted
Army
to
National
ask you.
Guard.
How do all these agencies work in coordination? I mean, that's a huge undertaking in itself.
Yeah, no, it's really an amazing one to watch. I was involved in a lot of these large planning events, and when the planning first starts, the room is very small, and as it gets closer and closer, the rooms get larger and larger, and they have what are called countdown meetings. And in these countdown meetings, you will literally see hundreds of people representing all the different agencies, everyone obviously starting with the Secret Service, all the way to the U.S. Postal Service. All the various elements that will intersect during that week in Philadelphia are around this table exchanging information in real time, working from a plan that the Secret Service has set up, but constantly adjusting it depending upon what is happening. Weather circumstances, they have meteorologists on standby tracking weather just on every possible scenario. So it's a massive undertaking. But Secretary Johnson, the current Homeland Security Advisor, Secretary has been incredibly active and involved and leaning forward on this, and particularly in light of recent national events, even up the security plan in Cleveland. I mean, it was impressive to see just how deep it went in Cleveland, and I know in Philadelphia they're going just as deep.
All right, Douglas Smith, thank you so much for joining us. Perhaps our viewers didn't know about countdown meetings and meteorologists, so it's very interesting what goes on behind the scenes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.